Alright, hello everyone, this is Mr. Crozier, and I'm going to go over practice test 2. For the other assignments, you have CalcChat and answer keys posted, but for this one I will make a video. Problem number 1, you're simply converting this form into standard form by completing the square. Don't forget here, when you add on 4, you're really adding on 9 groups of 4 is 36. And here you're adding on 4 groups of 9 is 36. And that is an ellipse because they are positively added together. On number 2, we have our diagram of the moon and the planet. And the planet is offset at a focus, not at the center. So we have an A value, a B value, A value, B value. You get some large numbers on your calculator, but if you solve it, it solves down to this. The closest point on here, now this is not to scale, but the closest point on here is right here, which is A minus C, and the furthest point is out here, which is A plus C. So any of these could be asked on the test. Number 3, I've done my foci. The center is always in the middle of the foci, so 8 to 0, 4 is in the middle. And the length is 10, meaning that it goes out a little bit past it here to out here. Now, this is the major distance. The foci, the center, and the vertices are all on the major axis, which is y in this case. A squared, b squared, c squared, I can figure out what b is, goes there. Now, if I wanted to graph this, the square root of 9 is 3, so I'd go out 3 spaces, and I could get my ellipse that way. Identify the conic here. It is a hyperbola because it's minus. In the x direction, I go 4 from the center. In the y direction, I go the square root of 9/4, which is 3/2. That's 1.5 from the center. And the graph is not going with the y direction, the y-axis, but it's going with the x. Number 2, I strongly recommend you just make a little quick sketch here. Plot your center, and your vertices are in the y direction, up 4, so 4 up, 4 down. And the foci, again, they're in the y direction, so this 8, look at this x value, it's -3, -3, -3. But from 4, it's going up or down, 7 is, or root 7 is the distance right there. All right, page number 2. Identify the conic. Well, what do we have here? Plus, and they're different, so it is an ellipse. And complete the square. 8, then I added on 2 fourths to get 16 here. Standard form here, center, and in the y direction, it's 1, 2, 3. In the x direction, it is 2. Standard form again, plot your center, and vertical, you go up 10, down 10. So when you go up 10 and 10, well, that becomes your A value. A value squared is 100. When I go 9 here, it's 4.5 here and 4.5 here, and 4.5 squared is 20.25. A circle with a diameter of 18 means it's 9 and 9. And that means everywhere is 9. In the x direction, it's 9. In the y direction, it's also 9. So 81 in both of those. Identify the conic. It's added and squared. It's an ellipse. Put the center, y direction 5, x direction 9. Ellipse, center, vertices, and when you see the eccentricity, well, the top number is C, the bottom number is A. Just remember that formula there. It tells you what the C value is and the A value. So then you can use the C and A here and figure out the B value. But this is just that relationship right there. Point A is on an ellipse. Well, that point on the ellipse, what an ellipse is if you have an ellipse, these two distances, distance 1 and distance 2, those two distances from the foci always equals the major axis. D1 plus D2 is the major. And they tell you what one distance is, so 6 plus something must equal 18. And I got 18 by using that 81 there, because the root of 81 is 9, 9 and 9. All right, last page. Conics. If they're both being squared, well, if one of them's being squared, it's a parabola, which is a curve like that. Everything else is either hyperbola, ellipse, or circle. Well, they look both positive, but you have to remember your equation only works when it's equal to 0. So this has to move over to that side, which would make it y squared minus x squared equal, and that's a hyperbola because it's negative. One thing being squared, parabola. Both squared, both 9, circle. Both squared, both 1, circle. Positive here, positive here means it's an ellipse because this is 5 and this is 4. If you want to think about it this way, it's not going to be a circle because a 5 and a 4 go there. Now, those are not the right numbers, but that's the concept. 14, we have a standard form, center 0, 0, 5 in the y, 2 in the x. You can find the foci by doing this equation here. Standard form of a hyperbola. Here we have it at the center, right and left 6, up and down 4, not in the y direction. This is a circle. After you divide this 16 over, you have a circle. 4, 4, 4, 4 equal to 1. And the distance between the foci, if you find this, we have A being 7, B being 5, and C being unknown. I can solve for C. However, I want the distance between the focus. One of them, the foci, one of these distances is 2 root 6, but I want the distance between both of them, so I'm going to times it by 2. And if we're building an arch that's in the shape of an ellipse, and it's 20 feet wide, meaning 10 and 10, and the foci are placed at 5 and 5, well, you can do A is 10, B is unknown, and B is that height, and C is 5. A squared B squared equals C squared. This height is 8.6. From the center, it's 10, 10, 5, 5, but the height is 8.6. All right, hope this helps with your test. For the other assignments, please use Calc Chat or the answer keys provided.